Alrighty, Fowl folks, welcome back to another one of our calls from inside the Fowl community group on our school community. So today we covered a topic we actually covered once before, but I added to the presentation and kind of like revamped it and revised it. So we covered how to structure your viral content today or structure your affiliate videos. So hook, body, close, stuff like that, things that are important to include and keeping a nice structure to the videos. We also went over different video styles. So B-roll, FaceTime style, all the different video styles we covered. And yeah, it was a pretty good call. Had a nice Q&A at the end. So if you want access to the full call, you can always join the school community. Links in the bio and the on this channel, and then also the comment section on this video. But without further ado, let's get right into the call. So sorry, structuring content. Let's get right into it. Here's our overview today. We're going to go over some basic psychology. And there's some war going on right now with the whole buyer psychology thing. I don't know if you guys have seen that. I don't get involved in drama, but oh my gosh, there is war going on between affiliates right now. It's crazy. So we're going to talk a little bit about psychology. We'll go over the 3 types of viral videos, hook, body, and close, because I think this is really important. We got some people really struggling after doing audits with just having structure to the video. So we're going to go over that. We'll go over some hook examples, and then we'll go over some tips. All right. So let's get this kicking. All right. So right here we have, oh, you know why this looks different? Because I didn't have these separated. That's why. Sorry, real quick. Let me just make sure you guys can still see everything, right? Okay, cool. Cool. All right, let's go into it. I didn't have the I didn't have the other page on my other monitor. I'm like wondering why it looks different. I had it all on one freaking screen. Okay, so this is straight from Nick's tips on psychology. So turning it entertainment into purchases, right? That's essentially what we're trying to do. So we don't want it to feel like an ad. We don't want it to really look like an ad. We want to make it as entertaining as possible and then kind of plug the product at the end and offer a solution. So hook immediately triggers curiosity, shock, ego. That's what we're going for to catch the attention and get the engagement up. Tone, we want it nice and relatable, not too salesy, almost like you're talking to a friend, like you're making a recommendation. Visuals need to show some sort of problem solution, display some sort of desire or fear of missing out, which is urgency and scarcity. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Every component drives an action. So I'm starting to think now, I hope I got every single one of the things I wanted to touch on in this presentation. If I missed something, I'm gonna feel like an idiot. All right. So we have novelty, which is like new, something that people have never seen before. I actually came across this in an audit the other day. I saw a product that I had never seen the way it functioned before, and it was brand new. That person knows who they are, and I won't out the product because they're very early to it. But very cool to see like new, exciting things that always catches attention. Controversy, obviously, going to get the comment threads going. Anything political, anything about anytime you can make it about like a celebrity or something or somebody who has a product and people don't like that person. Validation is going to earn you likes, right? And then urgency is what's going to actually drive the purchases. Urgency and scarcity. So these are all like elements of psychology that fit into your structure. Remember, this is something Nick always hits home on. You're not selling the product, you're selling an emotion, solution, or a result. This is the most important thing to note down or remember. Okay. Skits. Let's start with skits. We were just talking about this because we have a couple in here, and my observation is they'll probably end up doing skits. Anytime you have somebody in the house that does TikTok shop, it's so overpowered. Most of you probably know my family POV. They are definitely probably number one in terms of skits, honestly, on shop. They absolutely crush it. And they have very controversial videos. They do a great job of like really hitting the comments and stuff like that. But basically what a skit is you just get somebody else involved. So spouse, friend, family, doesn't really matter. Somebody's behind the camera, it's POV style, and it's like a natural interaction with said person. You guys have all seen them before. They are a little bit difficult to master unless you're very natural, just being on camera like both of you. Usually one person is much better than the other and you kind of teach each other. But it should feel very natural. And it feels like the viewer is listening in on the conversation, which is like what we're going for. Requires a little bit of planning. Probably need some sort of a script to follow or some sort of bullet point list. Depends on how natural, obviously, you are at it. Less editing involved because the clips are usually longer. You're not like focusing on trying to get movement and stuff like that. And um, it takes practice, right? It really takes practice to do this. But there's Motto Slow is another one. Him and his wife absolutely crush. I love that dude to death. His videos are so good. But I know a lot of people like My Family POV. So this is like one that you guys can study. I tried to put more pictures of like other creators and stuff in here, so that you have like sources to go after. I did Nick dirty with this picture right here. Poor Nick. Sorry, Nick. Um, this is FaceTime style videos, so it just mimics a one-on-one conversation. I do a lot of these. Anytime you're sitting in front of the camera or holding the phone, flipping the camera around is what makes it feel natural. Like, oh my God, look at this thing. He did that. This was like his breakthrough early with the car charger, the retractable car charger. I think this video got like 20 million views, maybe. He had three of them go super viral, I think, at least three of them. And it's kind of like, oh my God, ever seen this? Flip the camera around, very natural, casual, unscripted, and personal. And you're talking directly to the viewer. So that's your FaceTime style video. Then we have voiceover and B roll. Obviously, there's quite a few creators who do these now because they've kind of become like the meta with expensive products. But Lush, obviously, any of his vacuum videos, especially, are all going to be B roll style. Anytime he does like Hey Dudes, those are more of like a FaceTime. So if you study his content and just take notes from it, those are kind of like the ways that you can like differentiate between his products, or sorry, his videos. But like this example, this was like one of the ones that did ridiculous numbers back in March. But that's a B-roll style. So recording the footage prior and separating it from the voiceover later. This is definitely like one of the things I feel like you should start with in the beginning if you're really struggling, because you can separate the two tasks. You don't have to film and talk at the same time. So, and usually like then you can really focus in on like your camera angles and stuff. It makes it takes a little bit longer to do these videos because you have to separate tasks, but the quality will come out better in the beginning, especially if you're awkward on camera. Um, yeah, I guess I did just cover all three of those bullets already. I'm just making sure. All right. This is a new one that I put in here because there's a lot of people who do these videos. And when I was doing audits, I was veering everybody away from them. But I did want to focus on these because it seems like if you could do one of these really well and get ads behind it, especially, these videos can really blow up. So we're going to talk about the viral sound first and then BOF because there is a difference here. So I call them viral sound videos. I don't know if they actually have a name. If there is a name, you guys can let me know. But basically, you're showcasing a product with B-roll style footage, but you're not talking at all. There's no talking. Sometimes there's little like text cues about what's going on if you go through like multiple features of a product, but there's no talking, and it's usually just a sound or music playing. The problem with these videos and why I usually veer people away from these is they're extremely hard to nail because it's so simplified and you just have, you know, the visuals and the sound and then your text hook. That's really all you have to make this thing go viral. And so without being able to talk and explain anything, these all have to be perfect. If you do not nail the vibe or the aesthetic, it's over for that video. It will never make it. So this is why I tell people not to spend too much time on these unless you're a master at it, like Haley here, or Hannah. Sorry, Hannah here is. So sound, visuals, text hooks. As you can see right here, very small font. It's all lowercase. She put a couple of emojis. It's very simple font. It's very much directed towards women. Like there's a bunch of psychology behind this. The aesthetics are absolutely beautiful. It really lets like the comforter shine here. I can't play the video, but you guys have probably seen these videos before. If you haven't, you can search up her page. It's one of her most viral videos. And the music is usually some sort of rain sounds or some sort of very cozy, mellow music. No pun intended with it being mellow. But the point is, all of these things have to match perfectly for it to work. It all has to synchronize beautifully. So I wanted to cover that because I see a lot of people doing this wrong. You'll see somebody promoting this and they'll have like a rock song playing. no relationship between the two of those whatsoever. It will never work. So you have to know exactly what audience you're trying to get to and what kind of emotion you're trying to create within the viewer. Now, BOF, you guys probably know this by now. Me and Nick always sway away from BOF. I've never seen Nick put up a bottom of funnel video ever, and I've never done it either. So this is just something we're not well versed on. A lot of this is ads. Cake Finds is obviously like the one person that everybody knows does bottom of funnel. Like I said, I never really recommend it, but it can work once in a blue moon. And I say once in a blue moon because I've only ever seen like one video out of all the audits that I've done that's bottom of funnel that's actually generated a decent amount of views and sales. So it's once in a blue moon. Really have to nail the aesthetics, have to use the right sounds. It's extremely difficult just because it's so saturated. There's a huge pool of videos out there. Easy to make, hard to go viral. Works with very super saturated products that are on really good sales. That's like the only angle you really have with bottom of funnel. Cake Find started doing like the whole, you're not just getting 1, 2, 3, 4, the quantity play that Nick is really promoting right now. And it's working. So, I mean, if you're doing BOF content, something to consider, but I would never recommend it to anybody. Okay, we're going to go over the 3 parts of the video now. We're going to go over structure. Somebody said, I think a lot of BOF videos are also getting violations right now. Yeah, it's always risky. It's always very violation prone because you can't really go through a whole lot of detail. So, especially with supplements, you're very prone to violations. All right, so we're going to cover the 3 pieces of like a good video now, and this goes for pretty much any piece of content that you put out: the hook, the body, and the close. So, hook. Obviously, so you have 3 hooks, and this is something I've been talking about in my audits as well. You never want them to be identical. So you're going to have a visual hook. That's usually movement, unique angles or features. Something like a new, like something that you've never seen before is obviously a visual hook. And then like some quick movement at the beginning, like flipping the camera or something like that, or sparking a fire. I don't know. There's plenty of different movement hooks that you can do. Putting on makeup. So right here is the example. I'm going to use. We have a Mikey video right here, and I'm going to use pictures from the video for all 3 of these pieces. So right here, he has hair in his mouth at the beginning, spits it out. That's like a very engaging visual hook. People are going, why is there hair in his mouth? It catches your attention, right? You're going, what the hell's going on here? The verbal hook that he used here is he's spitting it out. So that's part of it because it's technically verbal. And he says, something along the lines of, does anybody else deal with this? Like I said, I can't play the video, but that's like the verbal hook. Make it controversial or a nice engaging statement. This one is, does anybody else deal with this? Presenting it in this way, like anybody who has pets knows what it's like getting hair in their mouth because they've got it all over their house. So it works, right? It ties in to what the product is and with the visual hook, but it doesn't like copy it, right? And this is the thing that I see a lot of people do. Their verbal hook is identical to their text hook. If you use a text hook, you don't want it to be the same because think about it, you have 3 hooks. Okay. If 2 of them are the same, you lose a hook because they're identical. Now you're down to 2 sources of trying to get people engaged rather than having 3. So it needs to be related, but not the same. You can't have your hook say, anyone else deal with this, and then put this exact text on screen. People are reading it and hearing it. It's just a double up. You don't want that. You've got the 3 opportunities, use all 3. Text, I always say keep it short. I think optimally, when it comes to like a psychological perspective, it's like 6 words is optimal. Few more than that is fine. Few less than that is fine. The closer you get to 10 and above, it becomes a book and people don't want to read it. So keep it short, keep it sweet. 3 words right here. Very basic font, readable, right where the hook is taking place, right? It's easy to read this and see everything going on in 2 seconds. And this is what it said, whole home covered. So has to do with the hair, right? Related to what the problem is. Okay, so the body. Obvious visuals showcasing the product, features, use cases, stuff like that. If it's FaceTime style, you might be flipping between you and the product. If it's B-roll, it's usually just nice aesthetic shots of the product. This one was a FaceTime style video from Mikey. So it was flipping between him and the product, showing off the filter here, showing off the digital display. Those are all things you want to see in the visuals. When you're actually showcasing it. Verbals, we're talking about the benefits. giving some personal anecdotes usually is not a bad way to go, especially if it's a problem solution product. How did this help you? How did it solve this problem? But we don't want to use, like, this is important to remember. You don't want to spend the entire video going, I, me, us. You want to make it about the viewer, right? Like, it needs to be about them. So, what is it going to do for you? What is it going to do for them? And fit that into your wording. So, this is going to save you time. This is going to, keep your house clean, blah, blah, blah. You get where I'm going with that. Text. It's not always necessary. And I would say most of the time it's not necessary. I see a lot of people trying to put a bunch of text over the screen throughout their videos. It's just a distraction at that point. You're already talking. Now they're trying to see the visual and they're trying to read. It's too much for people. They're going to get what's the word I'm looking for? They're going to get overwhelmed and they're going to scroll because it's too much. You have to remember that people are like sedated when they're scrolling. They need something to catch their attention. But if it's overly, like if there's too much going on, it's going to overload them and they're going to scroll because they don't want to like read all this and they don't want to look at all this. It's overstimulating. There you go. So they're in almost like, I would call it limbo. They're in like a limbo state. So if you're too boring, they're scrolling. If it's too much, they're scrolling. So find the happy medium. Text is only necessary if you like miss an important detail and it has to do with whatever's on the screen. So let's say that you forget to put in the fact that it has a 2-year warranty. You could stick that at the end during the CTA if you really want to. Not necessary, in my opinion. You're really not supposed to talk about warranties, so it's probably a bad example. But you guys get what I'm going with that. Like, it needs to be related. I've seen a lot of text pop up. Like somebody just today when I was doing one, they mentioned like in a text bubble that it folds up for easy storage, and the clip that they were showing had nothing to do with storage. Completely unrelated. There was no point putting that text there, right? Because you're not even showing the solution. Call to action. I probably should have maybe I'll talk about it at the end. Call to action. This is something a lot of people will argue is not important. I still think it's important for the people that actually make it to the end of the video. Just as a casual redirect down to the link. Most people know that they can buy from TikTok now, at least a really large percentage. And a majority of the people who have already made a purchase are the ones who are probably going to be purchasing from your video because they're already like linked into the ecosystem. But point at the dang cart, man. Y'all got to point at the cart. Everybody does it who's big, like all the big affiliates do it. And it's because it's the most casual way of saying, click the cart or click the link without actually saying it. And what that does is it gets them to say it in their own head because they've already associated pointing to the link with click the cart or click the orange link. And so now they're essentially convincing themselves they need to click this if they want to buy it. Anytime you can get the buyer to convince them to do something themselves, the likelihood of a sale goes up, right? So that's what we want. We want a point and we want to pair that with some sort of urgency verbally. So the line I think I put here is, a couple colors. This is not related to, I don't know why I didn't put his CTA in here. That's what I should have done. But essentially he says something along the lines of, this thing's really cool if you're a pet owner and you should definitely check it out. It's something along those lines. Very casual, points at the link. That's telling them in their own head, I need to click that if I want to buy this without you actually having to say it. It eliminates words. Anytime you can get rid of unnecessary words, it's worth it to do it. So point at the link. Create some urgency, maybe if you're doing clothing or something. You could say something along the lines of, some of the colors have already sold out, so you're going to want to be quick on this one. Pointing at the link, just an option. Find what works for you. How would you be recommending a product to a friend, right? Take that and fit it into your video. You could mention a sale, you can mention low stock, you can mention free shipping. All that stuff will create some urgency. So you can definitely do stuff like that too. Yeah, casual recommendation. Need to hit that home. A lot of people still sticking with the please, like, just go click the orange card below to get yours. You got to drop that. It's way too salesy and people have heard it a million times. Text, usually not necessary at the end. Like I said, unless you forget a detail or like if there's a promo code. Very rarely do stores have promo codes, but I still work with one store that has it. So I like to plug that at the end just because. Okay, I've got some hook examples here. We're almost actually through the presentation already. But here's some examples. So Nick posted this pretty recently. This is like his go-to for like if you cannot come up with a hook, this is your go-to hook right here. So if you have a problem, or sorry, if you have this problem, right, you'd insert the problem. So I'll give the example here, but if you have this problem, then you have to check out this product, right? Very simple, very basic, but it will work if you have nothing else. Example, this was pulled right from one of my own videos that actually I had 3 or 4 of these go mega viral, and I sold out a product in under 24 hours using this hook. If you hate scraping ice off your windshield, then you just need a cover for it. It was something along the lines of that, and it was for a windshield cover, and it worked beautifully. This is the exact plug and play that Nick would tell you. This should be your default if you don't have any hook options. Okay. Next up, I would actually say is this one right here. This could be like your secondary default. It doesn't apply to every product, but it's controversial. It's worked for me beautifully in the past as well. And it's something along the lines of, how did nobody think of this sooner? Plug the product. How did nobody invent this sooner? How did it take until 2026 to invent this? Those are all variations of this hook, and it works pretty well still to this day if you hit the product right. So you can use that as your first line. You can use it towards the beginning of the video. And an example, how did nobody think of this sooner for a phone charger? This was Nick's example, but it folds flat so it actually fits in your pocket, something like that. How did it take until 2024 to invent a computer monitor with no wires? I don't know. Like, that doesn't exist, but you get what I'm saying. Maybe it does exist. Then you got a couple more in here that we threw in. I swear nobody told me about this product. Nobody told me about the fact that air fryers have a window so you can actually see the food cooking. Like, yeah, these are like pretty preliminary, but like these are easy go-to hooks that if you don't have anything else, you can go to these hooks. So just a few examples there for you. Write them down. Come back and write them down later if you missed it. And a couple of tips, and then I'll go over, if I can remember, something that I forgot about earlier. So testing all 3 styles is really like your best bet of finding out what your bread and butter is. So you have, like I said, I guess you have the 3 main styles here. You have skits, FaceTime, voiceover, B-roll. Then you have these. These are really easy videos to do. So like if you wanted to do one of these a day, you could, right? And I would recommend trying to nail viral sound, because there's a lot more elements that go into a video like that. And I think they have way more potential than BOF. And even then, it's still very hard to do this. But find your bread and butter. Like, what are you good at? What works for you? And which style can you replicate at the highest quality, right? If you have access to somebody else who does shop and you're good at skits, do skits, right? Like, make skits out of everything. If you are really good at voiceover content and showcasing aesthetics, and you're really good at camera shots and lighting, and you can make everything look beautiful, and you can nail your tone, do voiceovers. If you're extremely natural on camera and you can talk to the camera just like you're talking to a friend very easily, just focus on FaceTime videos. Yes, you should be mixing in here and there for certain products, but figuring out what your bread and butter is going to yield you the most money. You should be testing all 3, at the very least those 3, and trying to figure out what works the best for you. I will answer the questions that are going in at the end. So if you have questions, keep flooding the chat with them. That's fine. I'm going to go through all of them. Don't worry. Concise scripts. I put this in here. I don't know if concise is the right word. I don't recommend using scripts all the time. I think that bullet points is better than having like a full-on script, because you don't want it to sound scripted. And so if you're bad on camera or your tone sucks and you're still working on it, which is most of us in the beginning, then scripts are probably going to do more damage than they are going to help you. And you should just stick to maybe like having your hook written down, having maybe your CTA written down, and like a few bullet points of what you want to touch on throughout the video. And I think that that's a better way to go about it. And you sit there and you re-record clips until they sound good. That's personally how I learned. Anytime I recorded a clip and it sounded bad, I cut it and I re-recorded, and I cut it and I re-recorded until I get it right. The last thing you want to do is be reading off a script and go, oh, well, I covered the whole script. I don't really care how it sounds. Let me chop this up and put it up, because it's probably not going to turn out good if that's what you're doing. So make sure your clips flow together. Make sure your tone carries into the next clip, stuff like that. This is all important. And you can use scripts or you can use bullet points. I recommend bullet points. So I probably should change that. Scripts can be very useful in the very beginning, though, when like you haven't learned anything yet. So I like using Chat GPT for some hooks sometimes. Really taking variations of viral hooks that have already worked is probably your best bet because they've already been proven to work. But if you need selection, you can go to Chat GPT and ask for prompts and use prompts. Sorry, I know Nick has some of them on his page, and he might even have them he might have them somewhere in this community. I don't remember exactly in the classroom, but I would not recommend using chat for scripts. I don't like the way chat pulls up scripts. I think they sound shitty and robotic. So I would not be using that for scripts, in my opinion. You can if you can't think of anything else to say, but I would definitely be changing them up and putting them in your own words, if anything. Use templates for voiceovers. This is usually good just so you have some sort of formula for your video, especially if you're doing voiceovers on a single product a lot or like a few products a lot. Like you should have some sort of structure to follow. Like, okay, I'm going to start off with these clips, then I'm going to move into these clips, then I'm going to move into these clips, like action shots, stuff like that, different angles, panning, using, like your keyframes and stuff like that is very important. And if you have some sort of template to follow, it's going to make those videos go a lot smoother for you and you're going to be able to do more faster, which is the big thing with voiceovers because if you don't have them planned out, then they can kind of take some time. It takes some planning to get it right. Templates will definitely help you. And that's kind of something you develop on your own. Like as you watch your own videos and figure out what works, you can definitely though take viral voiceover videos and put them into Chat GPT, like say analyze the entire script and kind of give me an idea of like a template that would like cover the structure of the video. And you can probably do something like that to get a basic template for a voiceover. And then checking your analytics is always good as well. Like just to see how your video is flowing. Where are you losing people? Are you losing people at the hook? Okay, then your hook probably sucks. Are people making it all the way to the end of the video but nobody's buying? Okay, the video is probably engaging, but you're missing elements in the middle and end to actually close somebody on a sale, right? So that's kind of on the idea of like the chair video that Nick always talks about, which is you could either throw a chair off a building and hope for sales, which is never going to happen because it's not showcasing the actual problem the chair solves. Or you could throw 1,000 pounds on it and show that it actually holds 1,000 pounds, right? Two like very engaging videos, but one is actually showcasing the product and what it does versus something that just made it go viral, like throwing it off a building. So, yeah, I think that about covers it. Let me back up here. I think what I wanted to talk about was yeah, I think what I wanted to talk about kind of went in here with like text on screen and stuff like that. Um, I notice a lot of people are adding like a lot of text and they're adding effects and they're adding transitions and all this stuff to the videos. And this really goes into like the little things like when you're editing and stuff like that, but it ties a lot into video structure. You really don't want to be adding all this extra stuff. You need to be focused on, this right here, which is your text hook or all of your hooks, I should say, the body and the close, and everything else is really noise. Any extra text on screen is noise. Fancy captions, noise. Effects or transitions on the video, they're all noise. They don't matter. They like people try to do this to bedazzle the video and make it more engaging. And really, all you do is turn people off because what they're looking for is something simple and to the point. Like that's what people want at the end of the day. Like I said, they're in that limbo period. And so, or that limbo, zone. And so anything that's too much, it sends off like undercover red flags in their brain subconsciously. They scroll, right? They see some crazy pop-up text appear, they scroll. It's not needed, right? Focus on your content and your quality and making sure your structure is good. That's really what matters here. Alrighty, that concludes the call. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully you got some value from it. Learn how to kind of maybe restructure your content if you've been struggling with that. And yeah, I mean, there's not much more to say. Inside Fowl, we're doing some really cool stuff. It's completely free to join if you want to learn TikTok affiliate, see more content like this, get access to the full call. And we're also building a brand inside of that community group as well that will inevitably launch on TikTok Shop. And you, the creator who got to help participate in voting on those brand decisions, the colors, the logo, the scents, all that good stuff, you will then get to promote the product that you've helped build, which is a really cool opportunity that I've never seen before. So we're having a blast in there. It's a good time. I'm very passionate about this product and this whole sort of community that we built. We got a lot of great people in there. So feel free to join. Check it out in the bio or in the description of this video. Hope to see you in there, and take care until next time. Peace.